They only want white people here.
These are the first group of white South Africans who've been fast-tracked into refugee status. The Trump administration made a big thing about cracking down on immigration and suspending the refugee resettlement program. So questions are being asked on why has such an exception been made for this group of people?
So ICE is currently kidnapping people, sending them away, taking them away from their families and things like that. Truly a terrifying time. But in the middle of all this, Trump has decided to bring in all of these white refugees from South Africa that claim that their lives were in danger because there was a white genocide. Only here's the thing. There's not. That's not happening.
When I say certain people have the complexion for protection, this is what I mean.
So what's the difference between the South African refugees coming here and everyone else coming here looking for the American dream and a better life? Really, what's the difference? I think it's the color of my eyes.
The more I think about these Afrikaners, the angrier I get. Right now, there is a 19-year-old DACA recipient who has been here since she was 4 years old, has been detained for almost a week. Monday will be a week. He's got her detained, and he's deporting United States citizens. People born in this fucking country. But he's flying white South Africans here on our dollar and paying for them to stay.
What happens when history, race, and immigration collide? Today we are diving deep into why some white Americans are uncomfortable with Afrikaners from South Africa coming to the United States of America under refugee status. It's surprisingly that the government of the United States of America decided to go and get white South Africans all the way from South Africa, bring them to the United States of America under refugee status, when they promised that during their campaigns and when they were actually trying to get into power, they promised that they will put the American citizens first. But as per what has been happening with the new administration, we can clearly see that they are not keeping the promise that they promised the American citizens. And some white Americans are not happy about this, and they have a lot to say that you'll be seeing on our today's episode. I want us to watch these videos together, guys. Every clip and every stitch that you'll be seeing on our today's episode, credits belongs to the original creators of these videos that you're seeing on your screens. If you're coming across this channel for the first time, my good name is Gracie D. Kindly consider subscribing to this channel, give this video a like, and let me know what your thoughts are on the comment section. So let's just dive right ahead and we'll come back with more commentary.
White people with less than $100,000 and that own a red hat. Make sense of this for me. America first, but make sense of this for me. The front half of a centaur that's running this country, there's a good joke about Elon being in the back half with a puppet, is currently expediting refugees from South Africa to America with short and long-term housing while you're still poor. Before they helped you, like, anybody with less than 100 grand is poor. You're still poor. I know there's different levels. You're still in the group that is not their friend circle. Probably never will be. Likely will never be. Does it hurt or bother you that this group that's putting America first is now putting South Africans first, who, by the way, got there from where? Not America. They're actually Dutch, French, and German colonists. Make this one make sense to me. I feel like you can't just say, like, they're refugees, they need our help, because if that was the case, is it different because they're white? Just say that then. Just say that. What's that song by YG and Nipsey Hussle again?
When I say certain people have the complexion for protection, this is what I mean. These are the white South African refugees that are coming to the United States after Elon Musk lied and spread misinformation on Twitter, saying that these white South Africans were experiencing Genocide by the political party in charge. Here's the timeline of events. On July 31st, 2023, Elon Musk tweets they are openly pushing for Genocide of white people in South Africa. Then he tags the president of South Africa and says, "Why do you say nothing?" So as you can see, Elon Musk has been fueling this fire and spreading this misinformation for fucking years now. Fast forward, Elon Musk spends $300 million getting Donald Trump elected. Donald Trump wins. And the first day in office, January 20th, 2025, when he gets inaugurated, Trump signs an executive order ending the refugee admissions program. An executive order that basically says the United States lacks the ability to absorb a large number of migrants, and in particular refugees, because of the availability of resources for Americans. Essentially declaring that the refugees coming to the United States were competing for resources against Americans. Elon Musk then uses the power of being in Trump's ear all the fucking time and up his ass and turns Trump against South Africa. Even though the claims of white G-side are ruled not real by a South African court, literally 4 days later signs an executive order called Addressing Egregious Actions in the Republic of South Africa, where he cuts off all funding to South Africa. Then he fast-tracks white South African citizenship while rejecting all other refugees. Here's where the story gets better. Here's where I say that they had the complexion for protection, because these white South Africans are descendants of mainly Dutch and French colonial settlers who first came to South Africa more than 300 years ago. They were at the heart of the apartheid government that systematically oppressed non-whites. Yeah, they're the ones who get to come here on an air-conditioned plane, walking through the airport, welcome to the United States, given flags for a fucking photo op. Meanwhile, the Afghan refugees who helped the U.S. military during the U.S. military operations in Afghanistan are in dangerous limbo after the Trump administration ordered a pause on the refugee resettlement program. Meanwhile, this is how black Haitian immigrants are welcomed to the United States. Meanwhile, other refugee populations that are non-white, this is how they come to the United States. I'm not saying that motherfuckers gotta look like their story or look like they struggled, but there's a clear differentiation between people who have valid concerns, valid refugee claims, and seeking asylum versus these motherfuckers that are coming in shorts and look like they're well-fed and look like they have good clothes on their fucking backs. And if you really want to deconstruct all the fucking hypocrisy all the fucking way, why is it that the reason that the U.S. refugee resettlement program was scrapped was because the refugees were competing for resources against Americans, yet the literal website that's helping them resettle into the United States is openly saying that these white South Africans are going to receive financial assistance, a one-time federal grant, $1,275 per person, cash assistance, supplemental nutrition assistance program, food assistance, food stamps, housing assistance, medical assistance, work and employment support. And to top it all off, they won't have to even prove that they were being persecuted. The complexion for motherfucking protection.
They only want white people here. Because when we think about refugees who need immediate resettlement, expedited screenings, we usually think about people who are fleeing extreme violence, persecution, famine, war in places like South Sudan, Myanmar, the Congo, not white Afrikaners. See that chartered plane the Trump administration is sending? It's not going to collect refugees that have been sitting in resettlement camps for years, fully vetted, waiting to come to the United States to escape violence. No, it's going to South Africa to collect white people who claim they're being discriminated against. Why would they be getting discriminated against? Probably because they spent generations instituting legalized forms of racial segregation and discrimination called apartheid, aka Stephen Miller's wet dream. See, while the rest of the world after World War II saw that maybe racial discrimination not such a hot idea and favored more policies of integration and away from colonization, Afrikaners doubled down on that shit and instituted apartheid. Although it ended over 30 years ago, the social and economic legacies of apartheid continue today. South Africa is the most unequal country in the entire world, according to the World Bank, with white South Africans earning over 12 times what black South Africans do. But don't worry, we're going to make sure that the white Afrikaners who instituted generations of discrimination and segregation against black people get everything they need to get started here in the United States in their new life.
So let me get this straight. A bunch of South African YTT farmers have been granted refugee status and imported to the United States under the auspices of President Elon Blobfish Musk and Vice President Humpty Dumpty McAsscrack, the vapid bag of dog farts. None of them have been vetted. It's pissed off the Episcopal Church so much that they're not going to participate in refugee relocation. But Vice President Humpty Dumpty McFuckstick says it's not about race, even though all of them are YTT. Right? Okay, got it. I mean, shouldn't those colonizers have been just deported back to Holland? They're not native to this country. I was just wondering. Maybe El Salvador would have. And then at the same time, we're not accepting people on refugee status from countries that are at war. Okay. I mean, what in the raisins and the potato salad moment is that? That makes no sense.
The more I think about these Afrikaners, the angrier I get. Right now, there is a 19-year-old DACA recipient who has been here since she was 4 years old, has been detained for almost a week. Monday will be a week. He's got her detained, and he's deporting United States citizens. People born in this fucking country. But he's flying white South Africans here on our dollar and paying for them to stay. He has a 19-year-old DACA recipient in custody, deporting United States citizens, firing over 300,000 Americans, coming up almost 83,000 veterans he's firing. In the next budget, gets rid of almost $700 billion in Medicaid. And he's purposely going out of his way to go to South Africa, use whatever airplane they're gonna use, probably fucking Air Force One, or something bigger, with our money, and put these people up in houses across the country.
The population in South Africa is 90% black, but black people in South Africa only own 4% of privately owned land in the entire country. But somehow Trump is convinced that these 59 white South African refugees deserve to be housed and fed on the taxpayer dollar in the United States because they were being discriminated against in their home country. It makes me so fucking sick to see that in the same week that a 16-year-old girl had her face slammed into the concrete by ICE because she was brought here as a minor into the United States by her parents, that our taxpayer dollars are simultaneously being spent on an expedited refugee process for white people in South Africa, where they only make up 10% of the population, but they own 96% of the fucking land. Are you kidding me? And their justification is that they believe that white people are being genocided in South Africa. So all of a sudden they have a problem with genocide. Meanwhile, the United States is literally funding a genocide in the West Bank. And for the record, that's not even happening in South Africa. It's been disproven and debunked multiple times. And it's just Elon Musk spreading right-wing bullshit, white supremacist bullshit, as usual. That's all this is. It's just white supremacist bullshit all over again. I'm so tired.
It's crazy, guys, that this is actually happening. And you know, like most of white Americans actually voted for this. They voted to give this guy power for everything that he's doing. Him deporting citizens, and a good number of white Americans were happy that illegal immigrants, the Hispanic community, were going to be deported back in their countries. Because what? They believed and they were told that these people are criminals. They believed that these people do not deserve to be in the United States of America. And these illegal immigrants, mind you, were people that were working for themselves. They had everything figured out for themselves. They didn't wait for the government to help them. They didn't wait for the government to give them free housing. They didn't wait for the government to give them food. I know some of you are going to come here and tell me they were getting benefits from the government, but at the end of the day, these people were actually paying taxes. And now you're having white South Africans who are being brought to the United States of America. They are being given housing. They are being given groceries, everything. Those eggs that you are complaining about that are not easy to buy because they are selling them at $5, other places $6, others $7. These white South Africans are getting them from free. From your own taxes. You are so happy that these illegal immigrants are now finally getting deported. And now a lot of you, like white Nebraska farmers, are out here complaining that they don't have people to work on their farms. The construction site, they don't have people to work at the construction sites. And it's all these illegal immigrants that you all voted for them to get deported that were actually helping you with all these. And now you still want to complain that your government is bringing in white South Africans to your country and they have to get everything from your own taxpayers' money. How does that feel? Because it's crazy. The craziest part about this is that, do you know how many people actually homeless in the United States of America? I don't even have the number in my head, and that's why I did a little bit of research. Just like so many of you are very ignorant about so many things like Obamacare. You all wanted the government to appeal Obamacare because you all thought it meant black people and the poor people. You all thought that this benefit was only going to the melanated people or people of color in the United States of America. And now most of you realize that you are actually beneficiaries of Obamacare. You are out here begging the government not to do away with Obamacare. You all were happy when the government decided, you know what, we want to do with DEI, because you all thought DEI meant the black community, the poor people in the United States of America, and people of color. But most of you, now that are losing your jobs, most veterans are not getting their benefits. Now you're all realizing that you all effed around when you voted for this. You all effed around because you decided not to go through Project 2025, which had all these. And now these people are coming to your country. And as of 2025, do you know what number of people that are actually out there homeless? They don't have a place that they can call a home in the United States of America. And the government cannot do anything about this, but they can get people all the way from South Africa. They sent a flight from America all the way to Johannesburg to go and pick white South Africans to bring them in your country. While you have 771,480 people who are actually experiencing homelessness in the United States of America. The figure represents an 18% increase from the previous year, and this is per 2025, marking the highest number record since HUD began its annual counts in 2007. 2025 has the highest number of homelessness in the United States of America. So what do you all have to say about these? Like, you all voted for this government. You voted for them to go and get other people who are not even American citizens to your country and give them free housing and give them free food and give them free grocery checks for them to go and shop however they want. They are really welcomed in this country while you're having a good number of American citizens that are actually suffering out there. So about children that are actually experiencing or suffering from homelessness, there's approximately 150,000 children under 18 years of age. On a single night in January 2024, reflecting that a 3% increase from the prior year, family homelessness rose by 39%, with significant surges in cities like New York, Chicago, and Denver. So, racial disparities. Black Americans, consulting about 12% of the US population, accounted for 32% of homelessness population, highlighting systematic inequalities. You all don't want to talk about that because it's affecting black people. It has nothing to do with you. Veterans, in contrast to overall trends, veteran homelessness decreased by 7.6%, with unsheltered veteran homelessness dropping by 10.7% attributed to target federal programs. And he has done away with all the benefits that veterans are getting, people that served your country, and they have to suffer from homelessness. I mean, this sounds very, I don't even know who is advising this government. I don't know what's happening in the new administration. Because even thinking about it, me that I'm not an American citizen, this is actually making me very angry, because he promised to keep American citizens first. It's supposed to be American getting the best from what they pay from their social security. Now you want to tell me there are some veterans out there that don't have a place to call home? Now you want to tell me they're like old American citizens that actually paid for social securities, but they're getting nothing out of it? This is a very crazy, because when you want to tell me people are actually homeless because there are no affordable housing in the United States of America, but the government can afford to cater for people who are not American citizens, to give them houses, to provide food for them, to provide everything that they need to live and start life in the United States of America, but they cannot do that for American citizens. It's crazy. And you know, the last time they actually said that the Biden administration is actually bringing these illegal immigrants to the United States of America, paying them money and, you know, providing everything that they need for them to be later turned into voters. Then what are you doing with these people that you're getting from white South Africans? Like, what are the benefits that this government is actually getting? Because this is crazy, lying to people that these people are actually facing genocide in South Africa, which is a big lie. And I'll be very angry seeing people believing that, not even bothering to go and do their own research. Because these white South Africans actually own the biggest percent of land in South Africa. And they're actually the smallest population in South Africa, but they're the most richest in South Africa, which is quite crazy if you're gonna believe that they're actually facing genocide in South Africa, guys. Let me know what your thoughts are on the comment section. Thank you so much for watching up to this part, and until the next episode, bye.